So it started with a mysterious sound from underneath the ocean. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it started when a bunch of scientists were basically using what's called the SOSUS system, which is an underwater surveillance system that was started during the Cold War to listen to submarines. When the Berlin Wall fell, they turned that system over to scientists to listen to whale song and to measure populations. While that was happening, they heard this very mysterious sound that they had never heard before, 52 hertz. Didn't sound like any other whale that was out there. At first, they thought it was a submarine, a Russian submarine or a Chinese submarine. They didn't know what it was. And that's when William Watkins, this famous bioacoustician, said, I think it's a whale. The Navy didn't quite believe him. A lot of people didn't believe him. But that story kind of took off. They did a paper about it. And in the paper, they kind of dropped their scientists' hats for a moment and talked about how sad it was. And when the world heard the story about this whale, the loneliest whale, calling through the oceans, swimming, and never receiving a response, it really struck a chord with so many people. And that became this meme that basically traveled across the globe.
That's right. Now, talk to us about your own quest, though, Mr. George. You're almost like Ahab in search of Moby Dick, except you didn't want to hurt 52. You almost want to love him, right? Or her.
Yes, we do know that it's a hymn. Only the males sing. So, yeah, it's hard to go on any quest for a whale without thinking about or even referencing Ahab. I didn't know how much it was going to turn into an Ahab story, however, when I started. At some point, it became quite crazy, a little obsessive, and I wanted the connections to stop.
Wow. Well, in your documentary, it was said that to be a true explorer, you must take risk and it must also be thrilling. So tell us all the risk and the thrills that you experienced.
I think the risk is failure. You go out there and the scientists were telling us, look, there is you know how hard it is to find one whale in an entire ocean is a crazy idea. It's like finding a needle in the world's largest haystack. And I was like, okay, but I've produced movies, so how hard can it be? and I soon found out over the course of it was 4 years before we even got out to go onto the ocean. And there were numerous times when we said, well, for lack of a better term, let's just cut bait. But we decided to stick with it. And it was quite a crazy journey. There were times when I just wanted to hang it up, but it was thrilling. I mean, going out and being on a boat and seeing whales and watching these scientists work with whales and tag whales, like it's an experience I'll never forget. And it was so thrilling. It was like a heist movie. It was totally cool.
How long did it take for you? How long did it take for you to finish the documentary?
I think realistically over the course of 10 years,
Wow.
from
Well,
like really from like inception to like the end.
the documentary was made famous by having the names Leonardo DiCaprio and Adrian Grenier attached to it. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, when we were going out to do a Kickstarter campaign, one of my producers forwarded the project to Adrian Grenier, and Adrian at the time was doing a lot of ocean conservation, and he, I think, immediately and quite smartly so recognized that the lonely whale idea was really an important one in terms of kind of connecting humans to the ocean, and that this lonely whale could be an ambassador for that experience. He went on. We had a great Kickstarter, and coincidentally, DiCaprio ended us giving us some money, which was wonderful, to help fund our expedition. And from that, Adrian went on and started the Lonely Whale organization, which has been used to help foster ocean stewardship.
Oh, now from mockumentaries to films, I mean, countless films, countless websites. Tell us the fascination about 52. I mean, we romanticize the loneliest whale who doesn't even have a name but a number, right?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I think, and that's part of the film, our anthropomorphization of animals, how we assign human attributes to animals, when there may not be, or there may. That's the other thing. It's a mystery. Is this whale really lonely? Can this whale really even feel that emotion that we call loneliness? And I think that's an interesting idea. Obviously, uh, when you hear stories about a lonely animal, we empathize. And one of the reasons we empathize is because it basically speaks to our fears as human beings, right? What we fear, our biggest fear, is that we're going to die alone. Nobody wants to die alone. So when we hear a story about a whale swimming through the ocean, calling out and never receiving a response, that affects us in an empathetic way. But then I think when we attach that mirror, when we attach that existential crisis, if you will, to that of a whale, it takes on an even more interesting persona because it's a whale. These creatures that are so big, they humble us. They're so mysterious. We think that they have, well, we know that they have culture, but that they have a sentience and an intelligence that we can't quite grasp. So I think it adds a whole level of mystery and resonance, if you will, to the story of the loneliest whale, and I think that's why it spread around the country. And they say we are in an epidemic of loneliness. Now what brings upon that epidemic? Is it the change in our social structures? We don't have as big as families as we used to, or is it technology? And I think that opens up a lot of question and a lot of debate.
Yeah, because you know what? In the end, it's really not about biology or science, but it's really about ourselves, right?
Yeah, that's the kind of, so that's the interesting thing, and you kind of understand that throughout the film. But it's interesting that it's said. It's like, this isn't really about this whale. It's about all this stuff that we put on this whale, and that really speaks to our relationship with nature. And we're still, we have to get out of our houses and go out on the ocean and enjoy nature.
Yeah. You know what? Because of your movie, I am trying to look for all the films about the loneliest whale. It's kind of intriguing.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. And then there's, of course, BTS, the band, the Korean band. About They have a song called 52 Whalin'. So it's just very interesting to see the connection, how this meme, has spread around the world, and all these different cultures that connect with this story in their own sort of way.
Oh, a big congrats on The Loneliest Whale again, Mr. Josh. It's an eye-opening documentary with actually a great discovery in the end. That's a tease.
Thank you so much.